This review is going to be on the Sony Walkman NWZ E355. Now, this is part of the NWZ E350 series, the only difference being that the E355 has the most capacity and it comes in at 16 gigabytes. You can also get the E353, which is a variant of the E350 series. The E353 comes in 4 gigabytes, the E354 comes in 8 gigabytes, and the E355, which is the one I have here, comes in 16 gigabytes. But other than the storage capacity, all three of those variants are the same in terms of software and hardware. So without further ado, let's get on with the review. Now you can find the E353, E354, E355, also known as the E350 series, in a few colors. I have the red one. You can also find one in all black, and I believe you can also find one in green and blue, although I'm not sure about those colors, but you can search that if you get to it. So don't buy it just yet, because of course we have to go through the review to see if it's for you or not. Now let's go through the design and hardware of the device. Now, as you can see, it looks a little bit thin, yet it is pretty thick. If I bring my iPod Nano 5th generation here, which came out like 3 years ago, it's razor thin, and when comparing that to the Walkman, it is superior when in terms of thinness. The iPod Nano does win in terms of thinness and, you know, design overall. I do like the design of the iPod Nano 5th generation better. Keep in mind that the 5th generation came out in 2009, and this came out more recently. Not sure exactly when, but I know this came out beforehand, yet I do prefer the design better. First of all, because it is skinny and slim, and I also like the feeling in my hand over the Walkman. Now, when we come to the Walkman, it is very light, pretty light. It feels a little bit hollow inside, so it doesn't feel exactly premium, but it doesn't feel like a toy at the same time. So yeah, it feels really nice in the hand, even though it's a little bit bulky for an MP3 player, and it is considerably thick when looking at it in terms of other relatively thin MP3 players, such as the iPod Nano 5th generation. So, for design, I really like it. I like the back because it feels like a matte finish. I like the side as well, even though it feels a little bit weird having two different materials, because you do have the black here and then the red glossy finish on the other side, which I'm not particularly fond of, but then again, it's not really a big deal. Now, going on the front, you have Sony just on the top there. The screen, which I'm not exactly sure about the screen size. I know this is 2.2 inches. Actually, I do remember now this is a 2-inch screen, so it is 2 inches, WVGA, the resolution, I believe. So the screen overall, it's pretty nice actually. The screen isn't low quality at all. If I focus in here, and let's try to get it close, it doesn't really wash out or look bad at all. It actually looks really nice. And yeah, if you watch this in HD, it'll look really nice. And yeah, if you watch this video in HD, you'll be able to see pretty much the quality of the Sony Walkman screen. And I will say it looks really nice. It's on par with that of the iPod Nano. I can't show you that right now because it is off. But it looks really nice. You won't be disappointed with the screen. It just looks gorgeous, and the menus that go along with the screen look gorgeous as well. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Now you have the home button. If you hold it down, it brings you home, which is here, and it lets you go back in settings or wherever you are. You can power it off by holding that button off, and you can go to your options by pressing the option button. And it'll bring you options depending on which place you are in the menu and navigation system. Here you have your 4-way directional pad. It doesn't have that click wheel functionality the iPod delivers, but then again, I didn't really like that much. Even though the iPod Nano 5th generation did have an awesome click wheel, it's nice to have physical navigation for a change. And I do like it. It feels really nice, a nice clicky response. Yeah, it's something I'm very fond of. I really like the clicky response. And overall, I'm a big fan of how it navigates. And you have the Walkman logo right there, of course. You need to have your Sony Walkman branding along the same side of the device to make sure that you know that Walkman is part of Sony. So let's start with Sense Me. Sense Me is like Genius Mixes on the iPod Nano. Genius Mixes, or in other case, Sense Me, allows you to sense like which music you have on your device. Or let me try to explain it. Like if you have two rock artists, it'll group those together into a rock mix or rock channel, as Sense Me channels is trying to do. That's its goal, is trying to achieve. So it kind of groups songs together in order to give you the best experience. If you're feeling in some kind of mood to listen to jazz or whatever, then it'll group together a jazz mix for you, and you'll be able to listen to that on the go. So that's pretty cool. Here you have the FM radio. As you can see right here, it does look really nice. The interface is relatively nice. And yeah, I don't have any problems with it. It plays really nice. You do need to have headphones in, I believe. I'm not completely sure about that. Yeah, you do need to have headphones in, or else it does not play, because the headphones do act as an antenna for the device, and without that, it's pretty much useless. But if you have your headphones, by the way, headphones do come in the box with this Walkman, but they're not that good. In fact, they're terrible, so I wouldn't recommend them. But if you are on the cheap and you can't buy other headphones, I guess they work you just fine, and that'll be pretty handy when you want to use the FM radio, which is pretty much required to have headphones when you're listening to the radio on your Sony Walkman. So, going to playlists, you can create your own playlists, and based on that, it's kind of like Sense Me, except playlists, you're allowed to pick and choose whichever you want, so it's not automated like Sense Me channels are. Next, you have photos. If you have photos, you'll be able to show photos. Sample pictures come along with them. If you want to rotate onto its side, it only accepts JPEG photos, which is a resolution that's only specifically amounted to this device, so it does only take JPEG photos. So that's a little bit of a downside, since there are other file formats. Let's see if I can focus that in there. And let's just see how the pictures look. Now here are the other pictures. They look pretty nice, although it's not that gorgeous, especially since the sample pictures are in a low resolution. They don't take full advantage of how the screen actually looks. So it would be best to watch this review in HD, since it gives you a better idea of how the screen looks. And let's try to go to the next one. Winter. Wow. It's called Winter. It looks like winter, I suppose. Not that big of a deal right there. But you can see the separate pixels on the screen if you look closely. But it's not that big of a deal anyway, since it doesn't really matter to me. And if we want to keep going, blue hills or water lilies or stuff like that, you'll be able to sync your photos from your computer to this if you really choose to watch or view your photos on this. Which it's not that good, but at the same time, it's not that bad either. It's nice to have your photos with you on your MP3 player. It's more of an all-in-one. You don't only have to watch your, only watch your movies or photos on other devices, but you can watch your movies and photos on your Sony Walkman, which is pretty awesome. And let's go to whatever's next. Oh, music. It's totally not what an MP3 player is for. So you can go through all your songs. If you have all your songs right here, you can just scroll through. I really love the menu. You could play any song you want. Of course, it's muted to avoid copyright infringement. So if we would just want to go down, you just click the down button until you get to the song you want. Of course, this is going through all the songs, and there are 3,000 songs on this thing, so I'm not really going to go through all the songs, but you could go through your album, artist, genre, release year, playlist, bookmarks, or folders, depending on if you sync them from your computer based on the folders you input into them. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And let's go into videos. There's no videos. They didn't come with sample videos. That kind of sucks. That would have been cool to have videos along so I could show you the cool videos that come with the device, but unfortunately there are none to speak of. So overall, I'm really liking this so far, and I hope you do enjoy this as well. It's a really nice and awesome, affordable MP3 player for your needs, and it's pretty awesome overall. And let's actually go into the next thing, which is settings. Settings on an MP3 player. And you have all these things. You're able to just put that little dust to the side, and you have all these settings to choose from. There are a lot of settings. They're extensive settings, so you can customize this to your liking, which is something else I liked about this. You can also have podcasts if you want to, and you can go to the song playback screen, or in other words, now playing. So if you're playing a song, you can always go to the song screen where the song is playing by going to that menu. So yeah, that's pretty much menu navigation. Very smooth overall. I really like the design. It's very intuitive and easy to go through. Have no gripes with this MP3 player. It's really awesome overall. I would have liked if they had some kind of other home button, other means of having a double tasking button, just to go back and to go home. I mean, it's pretty intuitive, but at the same time, it just takes a while getting used to the two buttons over here and their functions, because they both have two functions, so it's kind of taking a while to get used to, but eventually you'll get used to it. So how about sound quality? Well, sound quality is superb. Sony is really known for making their Walkmans with good sound quality. By the way, here are your headphone jacks and your USB port in order to plug it into your computer. But sound quality is really good. Output, it also depends what headphones you use, but the output for this MP3 player, or in other words, how this MP3 player produces sound, is superb, awesome. It also depends the files you put into this, how high quality the files are, but at the same time, the Walkman manages to deliver and make those bad sound files also enhance the sound files to make them sound better, and that's also another good thing about this. So good, very easy, intuitively designed, and I like how it feels in the hand. It's not too big, not too small, a little more clunky than I would have liked, but at the same time it gives you that nice feeling. So I like how the menus are designed, like the feel. Build quality is pretty good for a budget MP3 player, and I just like the sound quality as well. Now, negatives, the screen is gorgeous, but it doesn't take advantage of the screen by only allowing you to play standard definition videos in the video player. I also didn't like the fact that the screen does scratch pretty easily. I'm not sure if you could see any right there, but yeah, right there, you can see some scuffs and scratches, so it's not exactly scratch proof, although it is pretty durable. It does manage to get scratches. So yeah, those are my good and bads. I just like this overall. It's really worth whatever you put into it, and if you only have a little bit of music, the 4GB version goes great for you. If you have a pretty fair amount of music, 8GB goes for you, but if you have quite a lot of music, 16GB will do you fine. So I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. Be sure to give this a like if you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this review again. Overall, I do like this, and I like it as much as my iPod Nano, and I really adore my iPod Nano because it had so many features, but when this came along, it just, I don't know, it has two different approaches to giving you better music delivery, but they both manage to deliver, and it's pretty awesome how they both have different ways of producing music, but they all do it all the while great. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all later.